Welcome to today's lesson of math with Aaron Lehman, and today we'll be looking at solving systems of equations with elimination. So first off today we'll be looking at two simpler equations that we will be trying to solve with the process of elimination. Now if you look right now at these equations, we have 3x plus 2y equals 3 and negative x plus y equals 4. Now, the first step in this process is to try to get the top and bottom equation to have a common variable with opposite signs. So right now, we can use the 3x and the negative x and try to get those to be equal but opposite. So what I can do is I can multiply this equation by 3. So I end up with 3x plus 2y equals 3. And negative 3x plus 3y equals 12. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add down. So I will add these two together, and I'll get 0x plus 5y equals 15. Now because this is a 0x, we can eliminate this from the equation, hence the name process of elimination. Now what we can do is solve for y. So we can divide both sides by 5, and we will get y equals 3. Now as you see, we're back to our two original equations right here. We have 3x plus 2y equals 3, and negative x plus y equals 4. Up in the left-hand corner over here, we have the variable we solved for earlier, which is y equals 3. So what we're going to do now is take this y equals 3 and plug that 3 in for the y variable in each of our original equations. Now when we do this, we will get 3x plus 2 times 3, because we substituted the y for the 3, equals 3. And on the bottom we will get negative x plus 3 equals 4. Now real quick, we're going to condense these equations down because we only have one variable right now that we can solve for it. So once we condense these down, we can solve for x. So we have 2 times 3, which is 6. I'm going to rewrite these down here. 3x plus 6 equals 3, and negative x plus 3 equals 4. So now what we're going to do on the top equation, we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. And down here, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. And now we end up with the two equations, 3x equals negative 2, and negative x equals 1. So now, again, we will add down, so we're going to add these together. And we're going to get 2x equals negative 1. And then you should divide both sides by 2 to get the x by itself. And you'll get x equals negative 1/2. And there you go, you solve for both variables. You have x equals negative 1/2. And remember from earlier, you have y equals 3. Now we're going to try this again, but this time we're going to be using a slightly larger system of equations. This time this system has 3 parts, 3 equations, and each of them have an x, y, and a z variable. Now when we're doing this, we're going to end up with 2 equations out of this, each of them without a variable that we started with before. In this case, we're going to eliminate the x variable. Now for this first set right here, we're going to use this top equation and this middle equation. Now, so that the x variables are equal but opposite, we're going to multiply this top one by negative 4. And when we do this, we get negative 4x minus 4y plus 4z equals 4. And on the bottom, we will get the same equation over again, so 4x minus 3y plus 2z equals 16. Now for this second set, we have one here, up here. We're going to have to use two different equations than we used this time. So we use these two this time, so we can still use this top one, but we're going to use this bottom one instead this time. So now, instead of multiplying this top equation by 4, we're going to multiply it by -2, so that the x variables are equal but opposite. And when we do this, we will get -2x minus 2y plus 2z equals 2. And the bottom equation will remain the same like the last one we just did. So it'll be 2x minus 2y minus 3z equals 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add down. So when we do this, we're going to get 0x, -7y, 6z, and 20. On the bottom equation, we're going to get, again, 0x, minus 4y, minus z equals 7. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to erase these x's because we have eliminated them, and we're going to work with the equations we have now. The -7y plus 6x equals 20, and then -4y minus 2 equals, minus z equals 7. Now here are the equations we just had. Now what we're going to do is just like the other ones we've had, and we're going to find a variable, and we're going to make it equal but opposite of the other one in the other equation. In this case, we're going to use z because it's simple. We're going to multiply the bottom equation by 6, so that the top variable is 6z and the bottom is -6z. When we do this, the top equation is going to stay the same. So -7y plus 6z equals 20. And the bottom one is going to be -24y minus 6z equals 42. Now when we do this, we're going to add it down again. It will be -31y plus 0z equals 62. Now we can again erase the z because we eliminated it, and we're left with the -31y and the 62. Now what we're going to do is just like we did last time, we're going to divide this by -31. You're going to get y equals -2. Now we're back to the two equations you just had, and you're going to notice up in the left hand corner we have y equals -2, which is the variable we just solved for. Now for this next step, we're going to take this -2 and plug it in for the y, and we will end up with -7 times -2 plus 6z equals 20, and -4 times -2 minus z equals 7. Now we'll condense these down, so we will get 14 plus 6z equals 20, and 8 minus z equals 7. Now we combine like terms, so subtract 14 from both sides on this top one, subtract 8 from both sides on this one, and your result will be 6z equals 6, and -z equals -1. Now what we're going to do is combine these two. We're going to add down. You're going to get 5z equals 5. And when you divide both sides by 5, you'll get z equals 1. So my notes, we're back to one of our original equations, and we have two variables we've solved for so far, y equals -2 and z equals 1. We're going to put those variables in their corresponding spots. We're going to get x minus 2 minus 1 equals -1. And when we condense that down, we get x minus 3 equals -1. We'll solve for x and add 3 to both sides, and we'll end up with x equals 2. And there you have it. We have your x, y, and z variable all solved for. If you have any questions or comments, leave them underneath my video, and I'll get back to you. Thank you, and have a nice rest of your day.